Um, okay, so as John has outlined there, BIM is a process. So it's not just about a piece of software. So to allow BIM to happen, you have to have software capable of using that process. So for the next half an hour, I'm going to run through some of Autodesk products which we see as our BIM products. So we'll look at Revit Architecture, which John mentioned. We'll look at a little bit of Revit Structure and how the two work together, and we'll do a little bit of talking around that. And then if I have time, I'll just show you Navis, which I suppose is our review tool, which brings all BIM files together from other applications as well, not just within Autodesk. So for Revit Architecture then, what we're dealing with here is a model-based approach. So it can work correctly, the objects that you create have to have intelligence built into them, which they obviously do. So we're dealing with, as you can see across the top, walls, doors, windows, components, roofs, ceilings. So the model is created using that technology. When the model has been created, you then have all the views from the model. And that's very important because for BIM to work, everything has to be coordinated and consistent. There's no point in having a plan that doesn't relate to your elevation, because then that's not true BIM working. So Revit allows you to make a change in any view, and that view gets updated or that change gets updated in every single view. Another thing about Revit that's important to realize is that an object is only placed in the model once. So again, from coordination and consistency point of view, that's very, very important to have the ability to do that. So again, I'm just here in what looks like an elevation view at the moment. It's actually a 3D view. It's very simple to just flick that around, and now we're working on this type of a model here. This is just a primary school. If I have time, I'm going to do a little bit of drawing for you just to show you some of the elements being created inside in the model. So the model itself then, as I hover over objects, as you can see, that comes up as a fascia, that comes up as a roof. We've got curtain walling in here, we've got walls. If you select a wall, you're going to get properties for that wall. It's going to tell you the type of wall. It's going to give you the heights of the wall. And again, it will give you things like length, area, and volume. So it is possible, I'll show you in the views in a minute, to quantify everything inside in the model within Revit itself, or else take it out to something like QTO, and then you can do your quantities in that. So the idea is that all these Autodesk packages that John talked about all link together, and they take information from one into the other without having to recreate the same information over and over again. And that's what we're striving for with the portfolio John mentioned. So again, just very quickly then, to give you an example of some of the views. I mean, that's obviously a 3D view. The ground floor plan, again, is just the same information. You can even see there that wall I selected in the 3D view still remains selected on the ground floor. If I change it, it will change everywhere. That's important to get that. And again, not even coordination, even just from speed, for productivity, that's going to make your productivity soar if you do invest in something like that. Again, I'll go down very quickly through the views. Another representation of the ground floor plan would be like a color fill plan. So again, it's the same information, certain information turned off, and just color applied. And then that color represents the rooms, and I have obviously areas just based on a tag or whatever in that area there. If I select the room itself has inbuilt information. I don't know if you can read it there on the projector, but if I just extend this a little bit, I have got, electrical information that I've added into the room. I've got some electrical lighting, some mechanical. This is not Revit MEP, but I can still add this information into my architectural model. Still, we have areas and volumes, and then we have identity data like number, the room itself, and even down to finishes. I have all my finishes applied there, so I could show the room based on its finish. What I mean by that is we could just select the color legend here, we could edit the scheme, and just very quickly I'll say by floor finish. And it will just pick up all the floor finishes, and it will present that information back to you as a color fill with floor finishes on them, because it's reading the room information. And then if that room information gets taken out to another application, it's available for them. When these rooms get taken out into MEP, the MEP engineer uses these for his analysis, the same room information taken out. So it's very important that that information is reusable and he doesn't have to recreate it, Just very quickly then, a couple of 3D views that we can create. I mean, it's unlimited. When you have a model, it just becomes unlimited the amount of views you can create. A cropped floor plan, say a cropped section. Again, just being able to identify certain parts of the model. I mean, it's very easy to just grab the section box and drag it, and to be able to explain to somebody who mightn't just get a 2D plan, you know, to be able to explain to them, look, that is exactly what's happening here with the stairs, and be able to use that in a meeting type of scenario is very, very useful. John talked about analysis. This building could have started off looking like that. Now that looks very, very basic, but even in that shape, I can get floor areas and volumes without having any geometry. And that's the beginning of analysis. Autodesk has a couple of solar analysis tools that you can run solar analysis on that object there to see how it will be affected at very early design stage. So you take that then and you develop it into the model you're seeing in the complete views. Couple of other, I actually have a solar study here, so I might as well give you a look at it. In this case, a similar 3D view, perspective view. I've shadows turned on. I'm going to animate those shadows for a period of, say, a day, from morning till evening. I can preview the solar study, and I can just play it through. So even within here, we can start to see how the sunlight is going to affect those rooms, and that can be taken from the inside of the building or the outside. So very, very powerful to have that information at hand before you actually finish and go on to the design process. An elevation. You saw a 3D elevation. Here's a similar idea. Again, live information. You can embed in the information I showed you in the rooms into the walls as well. So what I mean by that is, if I go to my Annotate tab and I say Tag Material, so all I'm doing is reading the materials. But based on the materials that are applied to the objects, I can read a material off them like that. So again, if I don't have a material applied, so this fascia doesn't know what it is, but I can, at this point, type in a material in here. So I'll just say powder coated aluminium, like that. So that's typed in there now on my south elevation, but that information has gone into the database. So if I was now to go to my north elevation and try to tag the same fascia, or that one there, they will now all be powder coated aluminium. Now you could say I set that up, but I didn't, because that's going in, it's feeding in the information. So it just, again, means that everything is going to be coordinated and consistent. And again, I could keep going on here. We have rendered views. We've got other applications. I think this one here, yeah, that was done in a product called Impression. Again, some people might think that maybe CAD is a little bit too harsh. So we can export out our view from Revit. We can take it into Impression. I think that's free, John, isn't it? Yeah. It's a free download if you're on subscription. And you can do something like that, hand-drawn effects on the model. Obviously, it's not linked to the model, but it can be achieved inside there. And we talked about analysis, and we can look at things like solar stress coming in from a product called Ecotect. So Ecotect will allow you to take the same model into it, and then you can run even more complex solar analysis or energy analysis within the Ecotect. This is a slide from Green Building Studio, which is an online analysis service. Again, we export our Revit model as a GBXML, and then Green Building Studio reads the GBXML and then runs whole building analysis, CO2 analysis on that model. Again, using the same model. So that's important to just get that idea across. And again, because Revit is a database, and I did say we can quantify everything, we can get material takeoffs. So all we're doing here is we're reading the database, and we're showing how much reflective glass, glazed green, glazed blue glass. We've put a cost on it just because we can, and we've multiplied that then by the square meter of each panel, and we do get at the very end here a total cost for all the glazed panels in the model. So that can be done in here as well. Again, you have to model it to do that, but you are doing that anyway. And then things like room data sheets, the data from the room, say the room schedule. There you're seeing it now in a textual format like that. Similarly, if I was to look at a door schedule, why I want to show you this is just to get the idea across that if there's a door on the schedule which is text, I can highlight that in the model and it'll find the door. And we'll say it close. And then we can tile the two views. And what I want to show you is that's number 2. Okay, if I change that to, say, in this case 12, it changes in the model. And that's just a tag, it's a bit of text. But then what you can also do is we can look at 12 here, and we can actually change its size in the schedule, and the door will change in size in the model because it's the same information. And that's very, very useful to be able to do that live instantly without having to make sure. And as John said, it is a process, and we are still wanting at the end of that process to produce the title blocks. That's the title sheets, the printed sheets, that's never going to go away, not yet anyway. So all the views you see in the list are now here on the sheets, and they're live. And just very quickly, I'll just go back. I've talked about views a lot. I want to show you how to create a view and make it live. You don't actually make it live because it's obviously live anyway. But if I go to my view and I do a very quick section through, say, the stairs there, like that. And we'll take a very quick section, right click, go to view, and that's my section. So that's the live section that you're getting from the model, like that. If I just change my level of detail, I'll just show you a little bit more detail maybe, so it doesn't look like it's all shaded. If I change my annotation scale, clever little things, people who use CAD a lot will go, oh, that's very handy. So it changes all my annotation based on the scale. It also changes hatch and line weight based on the scale, so you don't have to think about that. But the most important thing to show you here is that that section is live. So as I move it through the model, it will begin to update live as I move it through. And again, you can take as many cuts through that model as you want. You can reverse the section, you can look the other way, and it will update instantly, live as I'm working. If I wanted to, again, I'll just show you here, if I was to select, say, that door and just delete it, it'll delete on the section as well. If I go back to the door schedule, it's gone from there. I think you get the idea now of how powerful that package is to be able to do that. And for BIM to work, that's what you need to be able to do. Okay, so I just want to do a little bit of drawing, just to give you an idea of the approach. Again, it's very similar to CAD. If I can draw in 2D if I want, I can draw in a section view, I can draw in a 3D view. It's up to me. You normally will, if I had better resolution there, I would probably have 3 or 4 views open at the same time and work between them. So when it comes to drafting, say a wall in this case, I select my wall, I pick my wall type. This time I'm just going to give it a nominal height of 5.5 meters. Normally you select walls and you pick a level, but I'm going to use a roof to determine the heights of the walls. So again, 5.5 meters. I'll just put in an offset from my grid. That's a grid, obviously I have there. I'm just going to snap to the corners of the grid there, like so. And it just draws the walls for you. That's how quick it is. If I wanted to now, I can just show you that in 3D. So go back to our default 3D, and the walls are in the 3D. And we'll tile the 2 of those views. And I'll leave the 3D open so you see what's happening. Okay, so again, on top of that now I want to run a bit of curtain walling. I'm not sure the set out, I'm not sure the mullion sizes or anything, so I'm just going to put a bit of glass up there. I can then take that out to something like Ecotect and analyze it to see, what is the solar gain if I do put that much glass in. And if I have time, I will get into that and show you. So in here again, a wall. This time I'm going to use a curtain wall. And we're just going to pick just a default piece of glass. I don't really know the makeup at the moment. I'm going to maybe change the glazing because I want to quantify it as well. So instead of that, I'm just going to put in, I think I've got one here, solid glazed sea green. So the same as what we had already in the building. And then I'll just snap in here, and I'll just snap to the center of the wall for this, and we'll just snap to the corners, and you should begin to see the curtain wall appearing like that in the background. Now if we don't, that's my fault. I'll just undo that, and we'll just undo that, and we'll go and we'll do it again. Because what I did was, because I'm working in 3D, you have to tell it, obviously, the height. So this one's going to have a base offset of 5500, and I'll give it, say, a nominal height of 1500, like that. So now we'll be able to draw correctly. So now you should begin to see it appear. Yeah, there it's appearing. And I'm getting a little warning on the bottom corner, which is what I was expecting, telling me you can't see it. And that's fine, because I'm down on the ground level, and the glass is being created up 5 meters above my head. So I can't see it, that's fine. And if I shade this view up, you should see the actual glass itself being created like that. So that's the glass, done. Next thing now is